What if I told you that one of the biggest signs a man is considering commitment is also the moment most of us accidentally sabotage the relationship? Sounds crazy, doesn't it? Because when a man pulls away, we usually assume one thing: he's not interested. So we panic, we send an essay, we ask for reassurance, we chase, we overthink every text, we call our friends. Some of us even end the relationship before he has a chance to. Sound familiar? But if you've been misunderstanding this stage all along, before we begin, if you're the woman who wants a healthy, committed relationship and you're looking for a community of women on the same journey, I'd love to invite you to join my House of Swans. You'll find the link in the description below. Now, let's talk about why serious men pull away. After coaching thousands of women, studying male psychology, and living through this in my own dating life, I realized something. Serious men rarely pull away because they're deciding whether we're enough. They pull away because they're deciding whether they're enough. Because healthy masculine men don't evaluate women before commitment. They evaluate themselves. Today, I want to show you the 4 questions every serious man unconsciously asks himself before he commits. Because if we understand this stage, we'll stop sabotaging something that may actually have been moving toward commitment. First question: can I become the man she deserves? One of the biggest mistakes we make is believing that men are only evaluating us. Healthy men aren't. They're evaluating themselves. Can I provide? Can I protect? Can I lead? Can I keep my promises? Can I give this woman the life I believe she deserves? I'll never forget one man I dated. Things were going beautifully. He was intentional, consistent, present, and then he disappeared. Like many of us would have, I assumed he changed his mind. I cut him off abruptly. I was so upset. But then months later we spoke, and he said something I will never forget. Chengi, I didn't think you had the patience to wait for me. You see, the pandemic had devastated his finances. He wasn't where he wanted to be. He believed I deserved a man who could spoil me, take care of me, provide for me. He wasn't questioning whether he loved me. He was questioning whether he could become the man he wanted to be. That conversation changed the way I understood commitment forever. Because sometimes a man's silence isn't saying, I don't love her. It's saying, I am terrified I can't become the man she deserves. Love doesn't automatically create commitment. Identity does. His. Point 2, will I lose myself if I choose her? This is probably the biggest misunderstanding between men and women. When a man says, I need space, we often hear, I want another woman. This isn't necessarily what he's saying. Healthy masculine men don't fear commitment. They fear losing themselves. Can I still think? Can I still breathe? Can I still solve problems in my own way? Can I still become the man I'm trying to become? This is why chasing almost never works. The essay, the constant texting, recruiting, mutual friends, showing up where he is. Girl, trying to force certainty. It doesn't create closeness, it creates pressure. And here's something I teach all my clients. Men don't run from difficult conversations, they run from pressure that threatens their autonomy. The masculine nervous system needs space to process responsibility. Not because he doesn't care, but because that's how many healthy men prepare themselves to lead. He will ask himself, am I protecting her or rejecting her? This lesson came from another man I dated. We had an incredible connection. Then he pulled away. I panicked. I wrote the essay, trying to understand what I'd done wrong. Eventually, he came back, and what he told me completely blindsided me. He practiced BDSM. He looked at me and said, you're too pure of heart for the world I live in. Now, whether I agreed with this decision isn't the point. The point is this: he genuinely believed he was protecting me. That was the first time I realized sometimes distance doesn't mean you're not enough. Sometimes it means I don't believe I'm right for you. Those are 2 completely different conversations. Agree? Is she emotionally safe while I figure myself out? This is where so many potentially beautiful relationships end. Not because the man pulled away, but because of what we do next. We overreact, we overreach, we chase, we mother, we negotiate, we threaten to leave, we give ultimatums. But uncertainty is uncomfortable. But here's the truth. The space between attraction and commitment reveals the character of both people. He's discovering whether he can become a husband. We're discovering whether we can remain ourselves without chasing certainty. When a man pulls away, don't immediately ask, how do I get him back? Ask yourself, what is he trying to solve? Then watch what happens when he returns. Did he come back clearer, more intentional, transparent, consistent, more future focused? Or did he simply come back because he was lonely? A serious man comes back with greater clarity. A man wasting our time comes back with the same confusion he left with. Learn the difference. It'll save you years of heartbreak. One of the greatest mistakes we make is assuming that every pullback is rejection. Sometimes it is. And if that's the case, bless him, wish him well, and let him go. But sometimes it's the moment a good man is wrestling with one of his biggest questions of his life. Can I become the man this woman deserves? Here's where so many of us get it wrong. We think it's our job to answer that question for him. So we chase, we reassure, we over-explain, we negotiate, we become smaller, hoping he'll finally feel safe enough to choose us. But that was never our job. His identity is his responsibility. Our identity is ours. The healthiest relationships I've witnessed are not built by one person convincing the other. They're built by two people doing their own inner work and freely choosing one another. If a man pulls away, don't ask, how do I stop him leaving? Ask yourself, can I remain the woman I want to be while he decides who he wants to become? Because that's where feminine strength lives, not in controlling the outcome, but in refusing to abandon ourselves whilst waiting for one. A man who is becoming will come back with greater clarity, greater consistency, greater transparency, greater intention. A man who is wasting our time will come back with the same confusion he left with. One comes back with a decision, the other comes back with excuses. And our job isn't to convince him, it's to develop the wisdom to know the difference. Now, here's the problem. Understanding why a serious man pulls away doesn't actually tell you whether your man is serious, because some men pull away to prepare for commitment, and others pull away because they're preparing to leave. If you don't know the difference, you can spend months, sometimes years, waiting for the wrong man. So before you make another move, watch this video right here, because I'll show you the signs whether he's genuinely preparing to commit or preparing another excuse. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you on my next one. In the meantime, do take care of you.